Let's talk about the events of my second Justice League movie, Justice League: Public Enemies, in my DC cinematic universe. After the events of my second Superman movie, Lex Luthor has a lot of good press, and he uses that to run for president and win in a landslide. Lex's campaign is built heavily off of fear-mongering against the rising number of metahumans, and specifically the destruction caused by the Justice League, a rogue group of incredibly powerful people that seem to have no supervision, unlike their predecessors, the Justice Society of America, and two of them, Diana and Arthur, are the leaders of foreign superpowered countries. And I don't mean superpowered politically, I mean literally all Atlanteans are as strong as Arthur, and a bunch of Amazonians are kinda close to Wonder Woman, with the weakest Amazonian being like 5 times stronger than Captain America, just for reference. So what Lex Luthor does is he puts forth a proposal. The Justice League come and work for him, or they have to be arrested. The Justice League, of course, refuse, since it's Lex Luthor making this offer, and thus they are declared public enemy number 1. Because of this, Lex Luthor puts forth a high bounty on all of these guys' heads. Whoever can arrest any number of them would receive, like, billions of dollars. And so we get different superpowered people, supervillains and stuff, coming out of the woodwork to try and hunt these guys down. Meanwhile, all of these guys have just adopted their civilian identities and are just sort of meeting up, discussing what the hell they should do. And for fun, little teaser, they meet up in a Planet Krypton restaurant, which is basically just Planet Hollywood, except it's DC superhero themed, and all of the waiters and waitresses wear shitty versions of costumes of characters, and all of the dishes on the menu are named after them. And eventually they are tracked down by another group of superheroes. The Outsiders. The Outsiders were a smaller group, not like the Justice League, which was sort of big and public-facing. The Outsiders were really behind the scenes, more just individual heroes that sort of called each other and shared information, and they decided to team up and confront these guys just in case they were evil, but they suspected, no, there's probably a good reason they didn't trust Lex Luthor. So the Justice League and the Outsiders team up, and eventually they uncovered the conspiracy that Lex Luthor, the metahumans that he is fear-mongering, the rise of the metahuman numbers that he's using, Lex Luthor is directly responsible for. And because Black Lightning, recent member of the Outsiders and old retired superhero, because of the events of the Static Shock movie, he found out that Stag Industries was the one making the Bang Baby gas. And shocker, Stag Industries, subsidiary of LexCorp. So they go on a lovely thing. Behind the scenes, breaking into a lot of LexCorp stuff is very publicly, President Lex is framing these guys to be the bad guys that are trying to do something to the company that he left behind to become president. And then, it's very much just the plot of Batman Superman Public Enemies, only featuring all of the Justice League and now the Outsiders combined. They uncover the conspiracy, they confront Lex Luthor with the stuff, Lex Luthor busts out the evil robot supersuit that we all know he's fucking had. Big final super fight, Lex Luthor's defeated, Lex Luthor's thrown in prison because, the president actively murdered a whole bunch of people and mutated a whole bunch of people against a lot of objective horrible crimes he did. Lex Luthor gets thrown in mega prison, and Amanda Waller, Lex Luthor's vice president, becomes the president. And it seems as though that was her plan the entire time. These guys received some key critical pieces of information throughout their investigation in this movie, and it turns out those were being fed to them by Amanda. She had only agreed to become Lex Luthor's vice president because, despite the fact that they did agree on some stuff of how metahumans should be handled, she knew Lex Luthor was an evil piece of shit, and this was her way to become the president. Good job, Amanda! And so the culmination of this movie is the Justice League realized they have to be a lot more forward-facing, publicly open with the stuff that they do, and so they reopened the Hall of Justice, the old headquarters to the Justice Society of America, and they established a working relationship with the UN and the United States government, the same one that the JSA had in place way back in the day. And then internally, because throughout this entire phase, every single superhero ended up getting a sidekick, they talk about the rising number of teen metahumans. And so they found Titans Academy and agree to send their sidekicks there to be the inaugural class as basically a front so they can train the next generation of superheroes to be better than them. And those are the events of my second Justice League movie, Justice League: Public Enemies.